Chapter 21 The Holy Mage is shocked. Incredible control of magic. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Old Chi, what do you think is going on? That the red-armored sturdy man Chen Feng turned his head to look at the green-robed old man beside him. The old man's eyes were deep at this moment. 7th level. Wind magic, Jingtao Qianyun Pe. Well, that's not right. According to the current concentration of wind elements, the caster should have released more than one 7th level magic. Qi Guoguang, vice president of the Tianhai Professional Alliance, the true 7th level strongman, and like Lin Yi, he is also a magician. As the saying goes, laymen watch the excitement, while experts watch the doorway. As soon as he entered the territory of the Dead Land, Qi Guoguang noticed the strong residual breath of magic here. He even directly speculated that someone had cast 3 7th level wind spells here in a row. No. There are also residual magic fluctuations of the fire element. It's Sky Flame Dragon Breath. The next moment, Qi Guoguang's eyes widened slightly. He felt the fluctuations of another element, and the fluctuation level is also 7th level. That is to say, before those 3 wind-type 7th level magics, there was also a trace of a 7th level fire-type magic bombardment. Qi Guoguang's eyes were filled with a layer of green light. He took out a staff with a precious emerald green magic crystal on the top from his personal space. The next moment, he waved the staff. Disperse. A word came out from his lips. The next moment, the strong wind that enveloped the entire Dead Land stopped instantly. The heavy clouds in the sky also gradually dissipated. The skylight sprinkled down. Chen Feng on the side was stunned. This method of waving to disperse the storm is very showy, damn it. The wizard is so cool. Even though Chen Feng is much younger than Qi Guoguang, he still envies this method of calling the wind and rain, which is like a divine skill. In comparison, his warrior profession skills are much simpler and cruder. This is why most people call warriors Zhanjiao. The reason why the mage profession is called a wizard, because mages are really cool. For Qi Guoguang, dispelling the storm is not a difficult task, because it's a coincidence. He is a mage who specializes in wind magic. His current skill point is wind magic. Moreover, his systematic research on the magic power fluctuation and magic power composition is much deeper than Lin Yi, who only knows how to cast high-level magic instantly but doesn't know the principles of magic. The clouds dispersed and the storm stopped. However, the scene on the surface of the Dead Land still made Chen Feng gasp. The surface of the entire Dead Land was cut off by a violent wind, and 1 or 2 meters of the ground layer was cut off. On the exposed ground, there were countless dense and chaotic deep gullies. These gullies looked like they were chopped by some extremely sharp swords. However, this kind of large-scale distribution and no trace of regular knife movement could never be the traces chopped by a warrior-turned-swordsman profession. Those were violent wind blades that plowed deeply into the ground, leaving traces. In addition, Chen Feng also saw a charred area that was about 10 kilometers wide and hundreds of kilometers long. He didn't dare to imagine what had happened here before. Old Chi, there seems to be someone else down there. That the eyesight of the 6th turn professional is excellent. Even in the sky, Chen Feng also keenly saw that there were groups of professionals lying on the ground in a mess. The light blue magic light flashed, and the next moment, Qi Guoguang's figure disappeared in the blink of an eye. Chen Feng was stunned. He saw his figure appear next to the group of professionals on the ground. Mage's general skill, flash. Chen Feng was speechless again. There are so many useful invisible skills of the magician. Envy. He could only stimulate the fighting spirit in his body and flew down quickly. Chen Feng landed next to a professional, stretched out a finger, and probed his breath. He said with surprise, "This person is still alive. How did he survive?" Chen Feng was somewhat amazed at the tenacity of this professional's vitality. According to Qi Guoguang's previous analysis, 3 7th level wind magic, 1 7th level fire magic, even the entire leveling area has become like this. This person is still alive. It's really outrageous. Qi Guoguang's face showed shock, and he slowly said, "Not only this one is alive, everyone lying here is alive, but they just fainted." Chen Feng was shocked. Ah. All alive? Ah. Old Qi, how did they survive after 4 7th level magics? Qi Guoguang's eyes also showed a strong curiosity and amazement. Extremely terrifying magic control. Chen Feng heard this, a little confused. Qi Guoguang continued to explain, I am now releasing a 7th level wind magic, and I can also ensure that these professionals will not die or even get hurt. But the person who came here before and dealt with the dead knight, his attainments in fire magic are also comparable to mine, and his control is not inferior to the wind magic. He is at least a 7th level holy magician who has practiced dual cultivation. Qi Guoguang finished speaking, he fell into deep thought. He was obviously searching in his brain, who in the whole of Daxia was practicing both fire and wind, and who had reached the 7th level or above. Such people, undoubtedly, are few and far between in the whole of Daxia. However, he did not match any candidate who met this requirement. Well, is his network not wide enough? Maybe he should go back to the Pantheon and ask a few deacons. Maybe this person is a deacon in the Pantheon. Qi Guoguang was actually a little envious, although he was a wind-type holy mage, the kind that everyone admired. But he could only pursue the ultimate in wind magic in his life. He admired and envied those who could practice both. There was no doubt that practicing both required much more effort than specializing in one system. Qi Guoguang closed his eyes. He silently felt the residual magic fluctuations from Lin Yi's 4 spells. Soon, he extracted the magic imprint like peeling off the cocoon. The so-called magic imprint is something like everyone's autograph. Everyone has their own unique characteristics and details when casting magic. These details and characteristics combined together are a person's magic imprint. By comparing the magic imprint, it is easier to locate the mage himself. Qi Guoguang remembered this special magic imprint in his heart, then opened his eyes and said, Let's go to Kanglan first and tell them the situation here. You can also report to the task. Chen Feng nodded. In fact, it was he who was ordered to take charge today. Qi Guoguang had a close relationship with his father. His father was not very confident that he came alone, so he asked the 7th turn holy magic guide for assistance. The two of them did not care about these professionals anymore. Since these people were not dead, they should all wake up in a while. If there is to be an aftermath, it must be Kanglan City itself. They are just here to deal with the crisis. Now that the crisis has been inexplicably resolved by others, they just need to go through the motions to show that they are indeed here. Chapter 22 Second Transformation Successful. New Ice Skill. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Kanglan City, outside the city gate, Lin Yi found a hidden location and landed. All base cities in Daxia, unless special permission is granted, otherwise, it is all forbidden. He was really too anxious before and took off directly from Wuhu in front of so many people. Now he wants to enter the city and return to Jiangqing through the teleportation array. Naturally, I don't want to cause trouble. Lin Yi just landed. I saw 2 streams of light, one red and one green, appearing in the sky, flying into the blue city at extremely fast speed. Lin Yi. Gone. Why do they dare to fly like this? On the sky, Qi Guoguang seemed to sense something. I accidentally glanced down. Magic power flowed in his eyes, and he soon saw Lin Yi hiding under the city gate. Why does this person give him an extremely familiar feeling? But for a moment, I just didn't think of it. Soon, Qi Guoguang was slightly shocked. He remembered, the ordinary, somewhat handsome young man below him exuded a faint wave of magic power. It was actually 70 to 80% similar to the magic brand he sensed at the scene of the previous incident in the Land of Death. Qi Guoguang slowed down his flight speed. Out of curiosity, he used an identification technique on the young man below. Soon Lin Yi's occupation and level were displayed in front of him. Qi Guoguang shook his head. It seems that I am overthinking it. At level 30, there is not even a 2nd level professional, even though he is a mage, but it is absolutely impossible to use a 7th level spell. At that moment, Qi Guoguang accelerated and flew away again without looking at Lin Yi. The strength gap between Lin Yi and Qi Guoguang is still too big. This is entirely due to the suppression of levels and attributes, so even though Qi Guoguang had already used identification skills on him, Lin Yi didn't notice it. Kanglan City Professionals Alliance Conference Hall. Plop. Plop. It was the sound of knees hitting the floor. Chen Feng and Qi Guoguang didn't know what to say when they saw a large group of Kanglan City executives kneeling in front of them and still expressing their gratitude. President Hu, what are you doing? After all, Chen Feng was the one who was actually sent to deal with the crisis in this incident. He quickly helped Hu Weijian. the president of Canlon City Professionals Association, Hu Weijian was the one who cursed his deputy after the alienated undead knight appeared before, and immediately notified the people to evacuate and put the whole city on alert. I don't know how to thank you too. I can only kowtow to you on behalf of millions of our blue people. That after saying that, Hu Weijian really wanted to continue kowtow. To be honest, the gratitude in his heart at this moment was real. The ecstasy of surviving the disaster is even more real, because this incident was resolved quickly in such a short period of time, causing no casualties or economic losses, and his handling and response is textbook level. If nothing else, when these two big guys return to Tianhai, his performance will probably be praised. President Hu, you must all have misunderstood. Well, Mr. Qi and I didn't stop at all and came as quickly as possible to support him. But by the time we got to the scene, it was over. The alienated undead knight world boss was killed by an unknown master. Qi Guoguang remained silent, but his status is higher than Chen Feng, a fact that can be seen at a glance by the senior officials of Kanglan City present. Qi Guoguang didn't speak at this moment, which further proved that he also acquiesced that what Chen Feng said was the truth. The main reason why Chen Feng explained the situation truthfully was that at his level, he no longer valued such so-called trivial achievements. What's more, there is Qi Guoguang, a real boss, standing next to him. If he takes the credit forcibly on himself, Qi Guoguang probably won't expose him even if it's because of his father's face. But invisibly, it can be regarded as owing a favor. In their class, favor is the most difficult debt to repay. After Hu Weijian and the senior officials of Kanglan City thought about it for a while, the CPU was completely burned out. So it turns out you weren't the one who killed the boss. So who killed it? How could Kanglan have such an awesome boss? The other side, Lin Yi showed his student ID card and entered Kanglan City again. As soon as he entered the city, Lin Yi heard the alarm announcement playing over the loudspeaker. At the same time, countless military professionals wearing battle armor were also smiling. As for the pedestrians on the street, their eyes were full of tears and they hugged each other and cried. No one thought that for some reason, the alarm in Kanglan City, which was about to be hit by heavy rain and disaster, was instantly lifted, and they no longer had to be evacuated from the city. Many professionals who have not been able to see their wives and children because they were in a hurry, see their families again, and feel like they are surviving a disaster. It is the greatest happiness in this life. Lin Yi looked a little confused. What happened? In less than half an hour, why did the entire blue atmosphere change from peaceful to this? But this did not prevent him from going straight to the teleportation hall in Canlon City. Lin Yi took out his mobile phone. This time he learned a lesson and bought a ticket for the first-class teleportation hall. The mission is done. It's time to return to Jiangqing to hand in the mission. Actually, Lin Yi wanted to complete the job transfer directly in Kanglan City, but when he passed by the job transfer sanctuary, he found that the job transfer sanctuary seemed to have been used as some kind of air defense shelter. It was full of ordinary people and a large number of professionals. It was noisy, and it must take some time for normal functions to be restored. Lin Yi walked into the distinguished first-class teleportation hall, and the teleportation array lit up. Then his figure disappeared. This time the teleportation experience was smooth. The surrounding scenery was still bizarre, but the fierce and exciting rotation feeling was much reduced. This was the reason why the other people who teleported away with Lin Yi did not react strongly. It would not be like before, when the air was filled with the smell of vomit. In less than half a minute, Lin Yi felt his feet stepping on solid ground again. The surrounding scenery changed. He returned to the familiar Jiangqing teleportation hall again. After walking out of the teleportation hall, Lin Yi went straight to the job transfer sanctuary. Li Yi yawned, took off the glasses on the bridge of her nose and rubbed her sore eyes. She glanced at the wall clock in the hall. It was already 11:30 in the morning. There was still half an hour before she could get off work. Today, she not only met a handsome guy, chatted with him for a few words, but also caught fish for the whole morning. This class was worth it. Thinking like this, Li Yi put on her glasses, but saw that handsome face appear in front of her again. I'll hand in the task. Lin Yi said simply. Li Yi was dumbfounded. What the hell? Handsome guy, we should have met an hour and a half ago, right? How did it happen so quickly? Okay. Please follow me. Soon, Li Yi led Lin Yi into a room where the job transfer crystal was placed. Lin Yi came to the crystal and touched it with both hands, then a prompt came from his mind, ding. It was detected that you have a completed job transfer task. Do you want to submit it? Lin Yi chooses to submit. The next moment, a circle of magic circles lights up under Lin Yi's feet, and at the same time, a white light flashes. Congratulations, your job change is successful. You have advanced to Intermediate Mage, second job change. You have acquired new skills, Frost Arrow, Mana Shield. Your spiritual attribute value and attribute point addition benefits have increased. Chapter 23, Counting the Spoils, Platinum Necromancer Greatsword. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Lin Yi's job transfer is plain and unpretentious, without any special features, that is, the fixed attribute point increase obtained each time he upgrades has been increased from 1 point to 2 points, and the effect of increasing his spiritual attribute points on magic damage and mana recovery is stronger than the first transfer, although he knew that he would get a new active skill and a new passive skill in the second transfer. But the two skills he unlocked were obviously very ordinary. He got Fireball in the first transfer, and Frostbolt in the second transfer. Fire and Ice are the most common specializations in the profession of mage in the entire Blue Star, because most people get the corresponding skills in the first and second transfers. In the environment where skills are so difficult to obtain, naturally, most people have no choice but to become fire mages or ice mages. Then the skill points are invested, and it will be even more difficult to switch to other systems later. However, Lin Yi does not dislike the two skills of Frostbolt and Mana Shield, because any skill, as long as it is a skill, in his hands, it will become extremely valuable. After the job transfer is successful, Lin Yi opened his personal panel and allocated all the attribute points he got after upgrading to the spiritual attribute. Level 7 magic is a big mana burner, not to mention the subsequent level 8 and even forbidden spells. It is foreseeable that after his passive skill, Divine Grace Chant, which speeds up the reading bar, is upgraded to level 9. He will definitely be able to cast forbidden spells instantly. By then, Lin Yi does not want to become a crappy mage who has no mana to cast spells after the free casting effect given by Mana Storm disappears. After adding points, Lin Yi's panel has undergone a qualitative change compared to 2 days ago. Lin Yi. Profession, Intermediate Mage, second transfer. Specialization, Fire, primary, Storm, primary, Ice, secondary. Level, LV.39, 4.3%. Health, 410/410. Mana, 39620/39620. Strength, 41. Agility, 41. Spirit, 566. Constitution, 41. Endurance, 41. Talent, Gift of the Gods, SSS. Allocated attribute points, 0. Allocated skill points, 312,685. General skills, Eye of All-Seeing. Professional passive skills, Mana Storm, passive, Divine Grace Chant, passive, Mana Shield, passive. Professional active skills, Fire, 1/7 level spells, Storm, 1/7 level spells, Ice, 1st level spells. After completing the job transfer, Lin Yi leveled up 9 levels in a row, including the huge amount of experience given by the alienated Death Knight and the experience he gained by killing a large number of undead soldiers in 1 second, after the level limit was lifted. These experiences were not lost. Lin Yi's total mana increased from the 3,000 or 4,000 points that he had barely reached after taking the alchemical potion. It surged to nearly 40,000 points. Now, even if he does not rely on the free casting of Mana Storm, Lin Yi can cast 3 or 4 7th level spells with his own mana. Lin Yi looked at his skill point balance for the 2 newly acquired professional skills. He was just a little short of leveling both skills to the 7th level, but Lin Yi was not in a hurry. His harvest this time was much richer than in the Howling Forest. After all, the level of the transformed Death Knight was there, and the things dropped could definitely be sold at a good price. Thinking of this, Lin Yi walked out of the job transfer sanctuary, then he went back home. It was noon at this moment. There were 3 or 4 dishes that Lin Yi liked on the table at home, and a note left by his mother. If the dishes are cold, put them in the microwave to heat them up yourself. Your class teacher came to you in the morning and said there was something urgent, which was related to your future. Remember to ask what it was. Lin Yi's father, Lin Guodong, worked in the mine. He could not be said to get up early and work late, but he basically worked 7 or 8 hours in the mine every time, because it was too troublesome to go up and down the mine, frequent entry and exit would delay a lot of time, and his mother, Su Qingfang, was a teacher. Of course, she was not a professional, and the courses she taught were just ordinary cultural courses. Lin Yi had long been accustomed to the life that his parents did not go home at noon and could only get together at night. After eating, Lin Yi returned to his room. He took out all the things that the Death Knight Rivendell dropped from his portable space. First, there were more than a dozen pieces of equipment. Unfortunately, none of these equipment could be used by mages. Lin Yi looked at the grade, and found that 8 or 9 of them were silver grade, 3 were gold grade, and the last one was platinum grade. It happened to be the black sword that Rivendell had held before, Dead Rune Greatsword, type, weapon, two-handed, grade, platinum, equipment level, LV.60, equipable occupations, warrior, knight class transfer, weight, 29.3 kilograms, physical attack power plus 845, strength plus 97, endurance plus 88, durability, 100/100, special effect, plague corruption, when hitting the target, there is a 10% chance that the target will be infected by the plague, and receive 200 points of dark attribute damage per second for 30 seconds. This effect can be stacked up to 5 times. Lin Yi has never seen other level 60 equipment and weapons, so he naturally doesn't know whether the attributes of this two-handed sword are good, but he knew that the value of weapons with special effects would not be low. However, this is what bothers Lin Yi the most, because including the other 3 pieces of gold-level equipment, there was no way he could take action now. This Blue Star world after time travel, Daxia's equipment control for all professionals can be said to be extremely strict. Daxia officials strictly prohibit equipment above silver level from entering the private professional market. Once discovered, the source will be traced. This is actually the same logic as the ban on guns in Daxia in the previous life on Earth. Equipment is the easiest external means for ordinary people, or people with ulterior motives, to improve their own strength. A person with a very low level and low skill points, if you collect a good set of equipment for him, he can also cause great damage. Therefore, except for special organizations such as official high-level officials and military professionals stationed in base cities, other professionals are already violating the law simply by holding silver level or above equipment. Once discovered, severe punishment will be imposed. Of course, this does not mean that if a professional obtains these high-grade equipment, it will rot in his hands. Officials have opened special recycling channels. The good equipment you get will be recycled by Daxia officials at a high price. It's a really high price, the kind that guarantees your satisfaction. Therefore, most professionals have no complaints. However, the reason why Lin Yi was unable to get rid of these equipment was that with his current level and paper strength, he could not explain to the officials how these equipment came from. If he got it by himself, then he would have to explain more things. Lin Yi is very afraid of trouble. Therefore, Lin Yi planned to store these equipment in the portable space first, and wait until his strength was strong enough to be exposed on paper later. If these things are used at that time, the official personnel will not question them carefully at all. Lin Yi took the 3 pieces of gold equipment and the platinum necromancy sword back into space, and then took out 2 skill scrolls. This is the most precious treasure. Chapter 24 Selling Goods Add Points. Super Rare Necromancy Skill Book. You are listening at novelfull.audio. The attributes of the 2 skill books soon appeared in front of Lin Yi. The first is a skill book with flashes of blue light. Skill book, explosive arrow, type, skill book, classic, occupation, archer, learnable level, LV.30, level 2, effect. After use, there is a 70% probability that you will learn the skill, exploding arrow. Lin Yi's eyes lit up. Archer skill books are not cheap either. And this is a 2nd level skill book. The value is estimated to be several times higher than the Wind Blade skill book he dropped when he killed the Tiger King. But Lin Yi only knew that, it turns out that in addition to basic skill books that can directly learn higher level skills have a probability of being acquired, it's not 100% learned. He seemed to finally be able to understand the hardships faced by ordinary professionals. Maybe someone has worked hard and saved money for several years to buy an advanced skills book. In the end, learning failed. That would really make your mentality explode. Fortunately, Lin Yi doesn't have such troubles at all. Moreover, he only needs to find and buy basic skill books. Lin Yi turned his attention to another skill book with a black cover and a deathly air. Soon the detailed information emerged, making Lin Yi instantly excited. Skill book, Summon, Skeleton Soldier. Type, Skill book, Classic. Occupations, Necromancer, Summoner, Dark Priest, needs to break through the magic crystal. Mage, needs to break through the magic crystal. Learnable level, LV.5. Level 1. Effect. After use, you will learn the skill, Summon, Skeleton Soldier. Damn it, my luck really exploded this time. The skill book of the necromantic system. And the professions that can be learned include Mage. Necromantic skills are extremely rare among all mage specializations. It should be second only to the gravity system. The necromancy spells take into account the extremely advantageous qualities of summoning objects and soul attacks. Spells that can directly attack the enemy's soul can sometimes produce extremely exaggerated effects, making it easy for the weak to defeat the strong. Lin Yi chose to use it. However, a cold reminder came. Learning failed. Your profession is not the orthodox profession to which this skill belongs. If you want to learn it, you need to consume additional materials. Breakthrough magic crystal. Gone. Can't learn. What the hell is this breakthrough magic crystal? Lin Yi searched his mind and couldn't find any relevant information in his memory. However, Lin Yi had learned the concepts of orthodox professions and side professions. To put it simply, after the blue star mutation, the various professions are not completely parallel lines that will never intersect. There will occasionally be connections between them. Take the mage professional skills as an example. The 6th level Molten Balrog is a skill that both flame-specialized mages and summoners can learn, but for fire magic, this skill can be learned after upgrading. Fire magic is the orthodox professional system of this skill. As for the summoner, you need the corresponding skill book to learn it. Summoner is a branch of this skill. In addition, the 6th level Wind Flash can also be learned by other professions such as swordsmen, samurai, and ninjas. But now it seems that if you want to unlock the skills of the side profession system, you need to consume not only skill books, but also this material called Breakthrough Magic Crystal. Forget it. There's no need to rush. Even if I have learned necromancy skills now, I still don't have enough skill points to reach a high level. You must know that there are still ice skills and mana shields, key passive skills that provide survivability, waiting to be fed. If you want to add them, you must first add these 2 skills to high levels. Lin Yi took out a black card from his pocket, and a business card. Manager of Zenbage Jiangqing Bay City General Store, Zhang Dafu, contact information, XXX. Well, it's time to sell goods, sell stolen goods, and add some one-stop service. More than half an hour later, in the VIP reception room of Jiangqing Zhenbao Pavilion. Please have a seat, please have a seat. He, little brother Lin is here, and the shop is full of glory. I wonder if little brother has had any adventures recently. Is there anything you want to sell? Lin Yi sat on the sofa. Zhang Dafu served Lin Yi a cup of good hot tea, his smiling face turning into chrysanthemums. Lin Yi's first impression of Zhang Dafu was his big belly and oily head. He is the most standard businessman. Everything depends on money. This is not pure. Lin Yi does not dislike Zhang Dafu, and showed sincerity on the spot. From his portable space, he took out 4 or 5 rare materials dropped by the boss necromancer Knight Rivendell. These materials were carefully selected by Lin Yi. It is a completely random drop in the wild, and it is impossible to trace the source of the material to which monster dropped it. This way, no one will be suspicious, and no one will follow the clues to find out his past. As Lin Yi placed these rare materials on the table one by one, Lin Yi could see Zhang Dafu's plump face trembling slightly. Obviously these things are very rare. Moreover, Lin Yi also did his homework in advance and basically understood the price of these materials in the trading house. Brother Lin, let me call you brother. All of these are for sale. Lin Yi nodded. The next moment, Zhang Dafu took out a handful of silver abacus cards from nowhere, and his fat fingers kept moving the abacus beads with extremely fast and delicate gestures, making crackling sounds. Lin Yi thought he had to wait for a while. Unexpectedly, it took less than 5 seconds. The result came. Brother, I can offer 440,000 daxia coins for these materials, and I will buy them all. And to be honest, I can make a list of each material here for you, with the unit price marked, and you will definitely not lose money. 440,000 is not auspicious. I will increase it to 450,000. That when Lin Yi heard this offer, he nodded secretly in his heart. The unit price of all the materials he checked in the trading house before multiplied by the quantity, and the final number he got was 390,000. Coming to Zhang Dafu, he got 60,000 more out of thin air. That's enough. Okay. Also, boss, do you accept equipment? Zhang Dafu's face trembled again. He narrowed his eyes slightly and looked at Lin Yi in surprise. Brother, what are you doing? Lin Yi certainly knew what he meant, and judging from his expression, he was probably testing him. Maybe when he really said that he had silver-level equipment to sell, he would really take the order. However, Lin Yi would not be stupid enough to take such a risk. Don't worry, they are all silver-level equipment. I'm too lazy to go to the trading house again. Let's see if you will accept it. If not, I will find another one. Hearing this, Zhang Dafu hurriedly replied, accept. We will accept everything. That is, if the silver-level equipment you sell is not of high level, the price I offer you here will not be much higher than the market price. Some of them will even be at par. After all, our official control of this thing is also strict, and the recycling price is also high. Lin Yi nodded. It doesn't matter. Then, Lin Yi took out the 6 silver equipment dropped by the previous boss, which he had also selected. Although these equipments are only silver grade, their levels are generally between 40 and 60, so Lin Yi earned another 10W. Just when Zhang Dafu thought that today's transaction would end here, Lin Yi dropped another bombshell. Boss, are you selling the breakthrough magic crystal? Chapter 25, Ice Upgrade, Bone-Chilling Cold, Ultimate Control. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Zhang Dafu was stunned, then he glanced at Lin Yi suspiciously. That expression said, no, brother, why are you still testing me? Do I want to sell it or not? But Lin Yi didn't say anything further. Zhang Dafu said after a long time, brother, please stop making fun of me. If I sell this thing, I will really go to jail. This really doesn't happen. Lin Yi was a little confused, but he picked up something from Zhang Dafu's words, that is, the breakthrough magic crystal seems to be strictly controlled by the state, just like gold level and above equipment. Lin Yi had nothing to be embarrassed about. He was originally here to inquire about the information about the breakthrough magic crystal. He bluntly said that he had no idea what the breakthrough magic crystal was and what channels he could use to obtain it. Upon hearing this, Zhang Dafu pondered for a moment. Obviously, he was wondering whether this kind of information could be considered a type of paid product. However, considering that the things Lin Yi sold to him today could make a lot of money after resale, he said calmly, brother, this is actually not a secret. I will tell you for free. There is only one way to obtain the breakthrough magic crystal, and that is to mine it from our daxia state-owned magic crystal mine. And a series of technologies such as purification and processing are all officially controlled by the state. It is strictly prohibited for private individuals or organizations to purchase, process, and sell it privately. This thing is also very versatile. It plays a key role in strengthening the skills of all professionals and unlocking side skill trees. If you want to obtain it through formal channels, you can join a professional alliance or a large guild with an official background, and use merit points or guild contributions to redeem them. Of course, brother, I see that you are so young and you must have just changed jobs. For you, there is another more convenient way to obtain the breakthrough magic crystal. Some of our well-known professional colleges in Greatsword also have corresponding breakthrough magic crystal resources. If you are admitted, you should have a way to obtain them. By the way, I heard that our province will also give rewards to those candidates who perform well in the National College Entrance Examination, and it seems that there are also breakthrough magic crystals among them. Lin Yi finally understood, all resources that have a particularly huge impact on the combat power of professionals, in Daxia, the distribution has basically been completed. If you want to get it, you can only get it through officially designated channels. Lin Yi thanked Zhang Dafu and left Shenbao Pavilion, in the space he carries at the moment. There is actually an archer's explosive arrow skill book and 100 tradable skill points worth for sale, but Lin Yi didn't plan to take out so many things at once. Instead, we should take action in batches. The logic is still the same, which is to try not to attract too much attention from others. Now that he has made another huge sum of money, Lin Yi of course plans to spend money to buy idle skill point rewards, but this time Lin Yi did not go home, but was going to school. After awakening to the profession, there have been no classes in school. Lin Yi's mother left him a note before, saying that the head teacher wanted to see him for something, and Lin Yi planned to go and see what it was about. In addition, Zhang Dafu said before that if you achieve excellent rankings in the National College Entrance Examination, you will be able to receive the Breakthrough Magic Crystal as an official reward. Lin Yi was obviously moved. Since this resource is crucial for you to continue to become stronger, then Lin Yi had not paid much attention to the Professional College Entrance Examination and the search for a strong professional higher education institution, which had to be put on the agenda. As Lin Yi walked towards Jiangqing No. 2 Middle School, he activated the new function of his talent, Gift of the Gods. Would you like to spend 50,000 Daxia coins to purchase 24 hours of skill point rewards? Lin Yi chose yes without hesitation. It's just that this time he wasn't as crazy and mindless as he was last time. Instead, start calculating how much money you have left. After purchasing skill point 6 times in a row, Lin Yi stopped buying. At this time, if you want to get the 24-hour idle skill point reward, you already need to spend a full 100,000 Daxia coins. Therefore, Lin Yi saved more than 100,000 Daxia coins, which he reserved for emergencies so that he would not be unable to pay for anything he wanted to buy. It's even good to use it to subsidize household expenses. Anyway, if he wants to make some money, he can choose to sell the skill books and skill points. 6 purchases gave Lin Yi more than 500,000 skill points. Count what you saved before. Now Lin Yi has more than 800,000 skill points. Open the skills interface. Lin Yi clicked on the ice skill he had just obtained and started adding points. The goal is still level 7. Lin Yi found that the 7th level spell was enough to deal with most of the situations he encountered so far. Just tile it to level 7, and then if you have extra skill points, choose another skill and add it to level 8. Consume 500 skill points. Your ice arrow has been upgraded, and you have obtained a new spell, Ice Blast. Consume 2000 skill points. Your ice shock has been upgraded, and you have obtained a new spell, Frost Confinement. Consume 5000 skill points. Your frost confinement has been upgraded, and you have gained a new spell, Blizzard. Consume 10,000 skill points. Your blizzard has been upgraded, and you have obtained a new spell, Extreme Cold Zone. Consume 50,000 skill points. Your extreme cold zone has been upgraded, and you have obtained a new spell, Biting Cold. Spend 100,000 skill points. Your bone-piercing cold is upgraded, and you get a new spell, Soul Freeze. After getting the 7 ice spells, Lin Yi began to check them one by one. If the fire system is a violent output route, and the wind system is a rapid attack, multiple continuous style, then the characteristics of ice skills are also extremely obvious. Control. Extreme Control. Frost arrows will cause a 30% slowdown effect on the target, and it will continue. Then the 3rd level spell Frost Imprisonment can choose a target, lock its feet with ice, and imprison it in place for 5 seconds. In the 5th level Ice Zone, this skill does not even cause damage, but it can reduce the temperature of a large area to dozens of degrees below zero, and all targets within the affected range will suffer a high slowdown effect of 60%, and this effect will continue to stack, and when it stacks to 3 layers, it will immediately turn into a confinement effect. See the 6th level and 7th level ice skills. Lin Yi found a pattern. It seems that all the specializations of mages will do something different when they reach the 6th level. Fire is a summon, and wind is a supersonic slash. The 6th level ice spell is actually a passive skill. Bone-piercing cold, type, passive skill, level, 6th level, class, ice, consumption, none, channel time, none. Cooling time, none, effect. All targets affected by your slowing, imprisoning, and freezing effects will become vulnerable, and all damage received will be increased by 20%, and their dodge chance will be further reduced depending on the restriction effects you have imposed on the target. Slowing effect, reduce the target's dodge chance by 30%. Imprisonment effect, reduce the target's dodge chance by 60%. Freezing effect, reduce the target's dodge chance by 100%, and when you use a fire skill to break its freezing effect, it will cause an additional 20% of its maximum health in ice damage. Note, the effect of reducing the maximum health value will be reduced for high-level and high-ranking monsters, and the maximum reduction is 1%. Note, deep cold, piercing into the bone marrow. Chapter 26 Soul Frozen, Immortal Dharma Body. Unprecedented sense of security. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Percent vulnerability plus percentage damage. This mechanism is somewhat special and powerful. Although it requires a fire-type icebreaker to trigger, it is actually not difficult for other mages to trigger, because even an ice mage only needs to learn a basic fireball technique to break the ice, directly inflicting maximum health damage on monsters with extremely high health but no freezing resistance. The killing speed will be extremely fast. It will even be much faster than flooding the damage with fire spells, than the 7th level. Ice spell. It is also very different from the fire and wind types. The 7th level spells of the fire and wind systems have a large range and strong effects, but this 7th level ice spell is actually a single target spell. Soul Freeze, type, active skills, level 7, department, ice system, consumption, 28,000 mana, singing time, 15 seconds, cooling time, 30 minutes, effect. Guide the terrifying cold air, seal the target's soul in 10,000 years of ice, make it unable to move, unable to use skills, and clear all buffs on the target, lasting indefinitely. The target sealed in the ice is immune to all damage except fire damage. When affected by fire skills of level 6 or above, the ice will melt and break. Note, the imprisoned soul is locked in the body and will never change forever. Another skill that does no damage, however, the control duration has been extended from limited to unlimited. As long as it is not broken by the flames, it is eternal control. Lin Yi was very satisfied, because he now masters 3 legal specialties, no shortage of damage at all. Instead, it lacks control skills. Now the ice system completely makes up for this. After adding the ice element, Lin Yi looked at the success of his second turn and gained another passive skill, Mana Shield, type. Passive skill. Level, beginner, department, general department, effect. When you receive damage, 10% of the damage will be borne by your mana instead. A pretty good survival skill. For mages whose mana volume is much higher than their health volume, this skill can be regarded as a 10% full damage reduction. Lin Yi started to add more points. More than 10 minutes later, this survival skill takes on a whole new look. Immortal Dharmakaya, type. Passive skill, level 7, department, general department, effect 1. When you receive damage, 40% of the damage will be borne by your mana instead. Effect 2. When you suffer elemental damage, the corresponding damage reduction will be additionally increased based on your affinity for that element, with a minimum increase of 10% and a maximum increase of 100%. Current elemental damage reduction flame, 80%, ice, 80%, storm, 80%, effect 3, when you suffer a fatal injury that will cause your health to return to 0, the damage will be borne entirely by mana. After this effect is triggered, your mana will return to 0 and your health will be reduced to 1 point. This effect can only be triggered once within 30 days, and the current remaining times are 1. So strong. Not only does it have a high damage reduction effect, it even gives Lin Yi a chance to avoid death. This skill gave Lin Yi a sense of security that was immediately maxed out. To be honest, Lin Yi could actually feel a little pressure when facing a boss like the level 200 alienated undead knight before. He is not truly invincible after all, although he has output capabilities that are countless times beyond his job transfer level, but his ability to survive has always been weak. If he hadn't finished chanting before Rivendell swung that undead air-breaking slash, he used Qianlong Po's words. The wind mass of his 5th level Gale Wing alone could not block that blow at all. It might turn over, now that Lin Yi encounters a similar situation, or a more high-pressure situation. He won't panic anymore. Now not only the survivability has improved, but also the controllability. Even if an enemy that you can't kill appears, it shouldn't be difficult to run away. The 2 new skills for the second turn have been added. Lin Yi has more than 500,000 skill points left. It is completely enough to upgrade one of the 7th level skills to the 8th level. It is indeed time to choose an upgrade, but Lin Yi still plans to think about which one to choose. While thinking like this, Lin Yi had already walked into the gate of Jiangqing No. 2 Middle School. Walking up to the teaching building, Lin Yi gradually realized that something was wrong. Where are people? Why is there no one? Usually, even if the entire 3rd grade of high school has gone through career awakening, students will still occasionally come back to school to ask the teacher about some questions about leveling or skills. Even school officials will organize activities where teachers lead students to practice leveling. But it's impossible for all the students and teachers to disappear, right? With doubts, Lin Yi went to the staff building, knocked on the door of the principal's office. Please come in. An old voice came from inside. Lin Yi pushed open the door and entered. The old principal of No. 2 Middle School is named Qian. He was also the one who presided over the entire senior high school transfer ceremony. Seeing Lin Yi at this moment, the old principal had a look of surprise in his eyes. Classmate Lin Yi, you finally got over the shock. I am very relieved. You have always been my favorite student. I really don't want you to fall into depravity. Qian looked up and down at Lin Yi. He could feel that the boy in front of him seemed to have become much stronger. He himself is also a mage. There is some kind of invisible telepathy between mages. He could feel that Lin Yi had definitely not wasted the past half-month. This made him feel relieved. Lin Yi did not explain anything, but just asked directly, Principals, well, I heard that my class teacher came to me for something urgent, and said it was related to my future. What is it? Qian took off his reading glasses, stood up, and then his face became serious. It is indeed related to your future. Let's talk while walking. After speaking, Qian pulled Lin Yi out of the door of his office. Then Lin Yi heard an extremely melodious flute sound, and the next moment, an unknown hoofed beast with messy fur and a bit of a mess appeared. This hoofed beast has deer antlers, but its face is more like a cow, and its 4 hooves are more like a horse. A 4-legged beast protrudes, and there are wings with colorful feathers on both sides of the ribs. The old principal is only a 3rd level professional, and a 3rd level professional can learn riding skills and have a riding space, so this is obviously his mount. Get on, what are you standing there for? Lin Yi turned over, stepped on the stirrup behind the 4-legged beast, and sat on it. The next moment, under Qian's control, the 4-legged beast flapped its wings and flew up panting. Lin Yi. The 4-legged beast panted as if it would die in the next second, not to mention its flying speed, which is not much different from an electric motorcycle. Ahem, Xiaohua is old now. When it was young, it flew very fast. Don't worry about these details, let's talk about business. To make a long story short, this morning, an unknown abyss aura erupted in the leveling area in the eastern suburbs of Jiangqing, and a limited-time trial copy appeared. Only mages can enter this copy. So I asked the teachers of each class to notify all the students in the school who have successfully changed their profession to mages, including you of course. Chapter 27 Prelude to the Abyss, Mage Career Trial. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Abyss aura erupts, Mage Trial. Lin Yi was a little confused. What is this? Qian continued to explain, this knowledge does not exist in your textbooks, it is normal that you don't understand it. But you should know what the root cause of the changes in our blue star thousands of years ago was, right? Lin Yi nodded. It was the invasion of the abyss and the overlap of planes. Qian, yes. Abyss, this should be a term you often hear. You can understand the abyss as a parallel world, a different dimension. That is the source of all disasters and crises on Blue Star. There are endless terrible monsters there, and they even have their own civilization and their own social system, just like us. But it's a dangerous place. Go there. It is also the place with the most opportunities and rewards. Some of the real strong men in Dacia have become strong because they have obtained extremely rare rewards such as key skills, talents, and exclusive equipment after training in the Abyss. The Abyss is an all-encompassing terrifying plane. It is like a universe. In its constant operation and movement, it is inevitable that it will be very close to our blue star plane. At this time, when the two planes conflict with each other, it is easy to create a crack between the two planes. These cracks are actually the copies you are familiar with. Lin Yi listened to the old principal's tutoring. It made his eyes light up. He had never thought about how those copies were born before. It turned out that they were born like this. This morning, a limited-time dungeon appeared in the eastern suburbs of Jiangcheng. That dungeon was contaminated with some slight abyss aura, causing the monsters in it to mutate. The spatial structure of this type of dungeon is very unstable. After a period of time, it will disappear. So you must enter as soon as possible to get the reward. And this dungeon that appeared this time is very special. It is a trial dungeon. And it is a single professional trial dungeon. Only mages are allowed to enter. Lin Yi pondered for a moment and asked, then, Principal, if this trial is passed, what are the benefits? Sui Qian chuckled, you kid, you really don't see the rabbit before the eagle, but I am the same. We go to the dungeon, aren't we all for rewards? The reward for this trial is a title. This title is called, Abyss Challenger. The title has no attributes, but you can understand it as a key, or as a qualification. The qualification to enter the real abyss, Lin Yi understood, from the introduction of the old principle, really valuable equipment, rare skills, rare talents, all need to enter the abyss to obtain, and professionals who cannot pass this kind of professional trial will not be qualified to enter the abyss. There is no doubt that it is equivalent to never becoming a real strong man in your life. No wonder it will affect your future prospects. From the past rules, every time this kind of professional trial copy appears on our blue star, it is different. Before entering the trial, the challenger will be informed of the clearance rules. After reaching the clearance rules, you can get the qualification to enter the abyss. We are very lucky in Jiangcheng. The clearance rules of the mage professional trial that appeared this time are too simple. You just need to persist in the trial copy for 3 hours. You don't need to kill many monsters or boss. So, classmate Lin Yi, seize this opportunity. Because you don't know when you will encounter this kind of professional trial in the future, and it may be more difficult. In fact, the difficulty is not bad for Lin Yi. At least his current strength cannot be said to crush professionals of the same level. It can only be said to be a dimensionality reduction attack. No matter how difficult this trial is, it is not that difficult. Maybe for Lin Yi, the real abyss is a challenge. Lin Yi is most afraid of missing it, not knowing when he will have the chance to participate in the trial next time. While the two were communicating, even though the Cebu Xiang was flying slowly, they left Jiangcheng. You did a good job. When I was a teacher, I also took a few students to fly at high speed. They were all scared. Lin Yi. He had a grudge and didn't know how to spit it out. You call this high-speed flight? Can I say that if I use my own skills to fly, I can surpass your slow mount by more than 10 times? Jiangcheng is almost surrounded by lush and beautiful grasslands. Even the eastern suburbs are the same. The two left the city and flew east for a while. Soon Lin Yi saw a large group of people gathered somewhere in the grassland. The news spreads very quickly. As soon as this mage professional trial dungeon appeared, people from several base cities around Jiangcheng all got wind of it and rushed here at full speed. When I asked your class teacher to find you this morning, there were not many people. Many people in our school who changed their profession to mages went in as a team. They should be inside now. No, it seems a bit difficult now. Zui Qian looked at the dense crowd below and his face changed. Lin Yi also found the problem, that is, there were so many people that the entrance to the dungeon could not be seen, and it was obvious that these people were queuing. What's going on? Do you need to queue up to enter the dungeon? The four-legged beast landed, and Zui Qian took back his mount. With the connections he had accumulated over the years, he brought Lin Yi and revealed his identity to all the Jiangqing military professionals who were maintaining order at the scene. Perhaps because of their favoritism towards their own family, these soldiers turned a blind eye to Zhuo Qian and Lin Yi's behavior of cutting in line and moving forward, and did not stop them. Soon, Zhuo Qian and Lin Yi came to the central area surrounded by the crowd. Lin Yi also saw a space crack emitting a gloomy and dark atmosphere, which was constantly flashing. Obviously, this is the entrance to this limited-time trial copy. On both sides of the entrance, there are many professionals and array masters wearing robes, who are maintaining the stability of the copy entrance and trying to extend the opening time of this copy. President Jiang, I am Xiao Zhuo. Zhuo Qian put on a humble and flattering expression, and saw Jiang Xian, the president of the Jiangqing Professional Alliance, in the middle of the crowd. Jiang Xian was smiling at the moment. So many schools, idol organizations and guild members from other base cities came to their Jiangqing, which made him proud. At this moment, a group of people wearing the uniforms of a certain professional college, with a strong aura and basically above the 4th level, were talking to Jiang Xian about something. Zhuo Qian had no choice but to shout for Lin Yi, but his attitude was extremely respectful. Jiang Xian was a little unhappy that his chat with an important guest was interrupted, but now it was a public place after all, so he couldn't get angry. He could only look back. Zhuo Qian smiled and said, President Jiang, this is it. There is a student in our school who has successfully changed his profession to a mage, but he has not been able to participate in this trial. Now there are so many people, what do you think? Lin Yi, come here. This is the president of our Jiangqing Professional Alliance, Jiang Xian, a 4th-level great magician. Before Lin Yi could speak, Jiang Xian was surprised and said, Are you Lin Yi? Chapter 28, shocking the whole audience. Solo challenge of A-level trial. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Lin Yi was stunned. You know me? Jiang Xian looked at Lin Yi with interest. I've never met you, but my ears almost get calluses when I hear your name. My little granddaughter never mentioned you less. Even this morning, she asked me to wait for you to come and arrange this trial for you. Zhuo Qian's eyes lit up when he heard this. I didn't expect Mr. Jiang to know Lin Yi. This will be easier to handle. Lin Yi was a little embarrassed. The old man in front of me is also named Jiang. Coupled with what he said, it is not difficult to guess that Jiang Xian should be Jiang Ye's grandfather. President Jiang, it's not good for you to open the back door to your acquaintance so blatantly, isn't it? A somewhat cold voice came from behind Jiang Xian. It was a young man wearing a suit and gold-rimmed glasses with a somewhat cold temperament. Another person standing next to him also chuckled and said, and with all due respect, we are not looking down on your educational level in Jiangqing, but there should be very few freshmen of your generation who can pass this trial. Take the position and go to die. Why don't you make way for us freshmen from Tianshui Academy? We came all the way here and don't want to wait too long. Jiang Xian heard this. His face also became ugly. He was always polite and treated the group of people who came all the way from Tianshui with the concept of being a guest, just to allow their freshman mage profession to participate in this trial copy. Lin Yi frowned slightly. He didn't like the way these people were arrogant and looking at people through their nostrils. Indeed, almost all of these people from Tianshui Academy are at rank 2 or above, and a very few have even reached rank 3, but it's not that strong. What to pretend? Just in the middle of a conversation between a few people, suddenly there was an exclamation from the door of the dungeon. Following the sound, Lin Yi saw that Jiang Ye was a little pale, being supported by a professional on the side, walking in despair. Jiang Xian's expression changed and he stepped forward quickly. Even judging by past experience, the difficulty of this mage professional trial is not high, but there are always risks. Could it be that customs clearance failed? Xiaoya, you. Jiang Ye obviously suffered a huge fright. Her whole body was shaking slightly, and her complexion was frighteningly white. Seeing her grandfather, Jiang Ye's eyes turned red and tears fell down instantly. Grandpa, second uncle, woo woo. Jiang Xian's expression turned completely gloomy. He also discovered that there were only 3 people coming back with his granddaughter this time. There is another person missing. He is Jiang Ye's second uncle and Jiang Xian's second son. What's going on, Xiaoya? Don't cry first, calm down and talk to Grandpa. Jiang Ye couldn't stop trembling all over. There are too many monsters. We can't kill them all. and as long as we stay in one place, monsters will keep coming. There is almost no place to hide in the entire space. In the end, it was the second uncle who gave us the last 4 copy escape scrolls, and then attracted the firepower of those monsters, and we escaped. Second uncle, he. When Jiang Xian and Zhuo Qian heard this, they both felt cold all over. You must know that this trial copy is only allowed for mage professionals to enter. If it is true as Jiang Ye said, the monsters inside will search for their traces and attack them constantly. There is no tank class that can resist monsters, and there is no priest healing class. The 5 mages, even if they were all rank 2 or even rank 3 except Jiang Ye, could not withstand such a high-pressure environment. From this point of view, their initial prediction that this would be a trial dungeon with only a D-level difficulty was completely wrong. Now it seems that it is probably at least A-level difficulty. Help! There are wounded here. Is there any healing profession? Please help. She is dying, please save her. At this moment, people are constantly teleporting out of the dungeon entrance. Wails, cries, and cries for help came and went. Countless injured people were covered in blood and flesh, some had their abdomens cut open by the claws of unknown creatures, and some had their legs simply bitten off. The scene was extremely bloody. These should be the first batch of people to enter the trial copy like Jiang Ye. In an instant it was extremely lively just now, and even attracted countless onlookers, who lined up in front of the entrance to the dungeon, to remain silent. The next moment, although there were still people waiting in line, most people retreated to the far side of the dungeon entrance and watched from a distance. Those who can escape at least have a chance to be rescued, so those teams that didn't come out, you can imagine what happened. Zhuo Qian and Jiang Xian looked extremely sad. They never thought that the originally prosperous situation would suddenly become so dangerous. Ha ha ha. What did I just say? You will die anyway if you go in, so why not make way for us? Wouldn't it be better if it was like this earlier? We have to wait for so long. The bespectacled man from Tianshui College raised his glasses on the bridge of his nose, then crossed his arms and looked as usual. It seems that he has already anticipated the situation in front of him. Later, hundreds of freshmen from Tianshui College who came to participate in the trial all looked happy. Now, no one queues up ahead of them. Everyone, please pay attention. The task of this trial is to survive for 3 hours. The difficulty of the dungeon is A+, so be careful. Take the electronic map I gave you and follow the strategy strictly. Several teachers from Tianshui College began to tell their students what to pay attention to. Instantly, all the professionals around were envious. The difficulty is not D-level at all, it's A+. Too scary. Ah. Electronic map. They even have a strategy. Isn't this a limited time dungeon that just appeared? You don't understand this. I heard that many old professional colleges have mastered a lot of dungeon strategies that we don't know. For dungeons like this one that require survival for 3 hours, they may have prepared strategies in advance. Zhuo Qian, who was standing next to Lin Yi, smiled bitterly. It's our incompetence. Not only did they misjudge the difficulty of the dungeon, but they didn't have their so-called strategy. Sorry, Jiang Ye, Lin Yi. The old principal seemed to have aged by dozens of years in an instant. The whole person fell into deep self-blame and guilt. The most fearful thing is comparison. Others are fully prepared, fully reflecting the difference between professional vocational schools and their small Bay City high schools. Principals, there is no need to apologize for something that is beyond your ability. Even without a strategy and an electronic map, this trial should not be difficult. I want to try it. If this trial is really only D-level difficulty, Lin Yi will find it boring. Now seeing so many people fail in it, he is actually a little interested. But, in this situation, no one should be willing to team up with you. Zhuo Qian believes that Lin Yi should be capable, but he said the embarrassing situation now, at this time when everyone is in danger, who is willing to team up with him to enter this dungeon. But at the moment when everyone didn't react, they saw Lin Yi step into the dungeon entrance and his figure disappeared. Chapter 29 Fire Element Level 8, Supreme Sublimation. I am the Flame. You are listening at novelfull.audio. The copy light curtain rippled slightly, it seems to convey the fact that someone has just entered this copy. Lin Yi. Only then did Zhuo Qian scream, he was so shocked that he broke into a cold sweat. Jiangye, who was still immersed in sadness and fear before, became even more confused at this moment. Nonsense, Jiang Xian, who originally had a slight affection for Lin Yi and wanted to cultivate him because Jiangye kept mentioning it, scolded him. He never expected this young man who looked extremely calm, how could he be so reckless? Even though he knew it was an extremely difficult A-level trial copy, he still dared to go through it alone. The male professional with glasses from Qianshui College saw Lin Yi's actions, a look of surprise appeared on the face that was originally cold and emotionless, then he uttered 4 words. It's so stupid. All the leading teachers from Qianshui College looked at each other in confusion, someone immediately laughed out loud. Seek death. He probably doesn't even know what's going on inside or how to find a real refuge, right? Don't talk about a rookie like him who has just completed his job transfer. Even for us, it is very dangerous to enter a dungeon of this difficulty alone. Leave him alone, he wants to die, and no one can stop him. Without further delay, we don't know how long this dungeon will last. The most important thing is that we quickly let our own people pass the trial. After passing through the dungeon light curtain, Lin Yi received a system prompt, you are entering the special trial copy, City of Dying Light Firikine. Warn. It is detected that you are the only one entering this dungeon. It is recommended to form a team before challenging. Do you still want to enter the copy? Lin Yi instantly chose yes, the next moment, he entered the copy. When he opened his eyes, Lin Yi found that he was in darkness, in the pitch-black night, not a single star could be seen, there was only a crimson blood moon hanging high in the sky, although the lighting conditions are extremely poor. Moreover, Lin Yi did not have any lighting equipment, nor did he use any ray of light spells such as Fireball. Lin Yi relies on the god-level skill of Omniscient Eye. But he can still see everything around him clearly, collapsed city walls, rolling rubble, and the outline of the city are vaguely visible. Lin Yi felt as if he had arrived in a medieval castle, it's just a fallen castle. The night wind blew through every corner of the dilapidated city, making a harsh cry. Along with the night wind, there were countless indescribable friction sounds. It seems that there are countless monsters hiding in the darkness, waiting for opportunities. Customs clearance mission released. Please survive 3 hours in Philippine. Current remaining time, 2 hours, 59 minutes and 49 seconds. Please note that all monsters in this copy are immune to physical damage. When receiving light attribute damage, the damage will be increased by 100%. When receiving fire or thunder attribute damage, the damage will be increased by 50%. Lin Yi received a system prompt, no wonder this copy is a mage professional trial. If there were other professions that relied on weapons for a living, they would probably be completely out of business here, because all monsters are immune to physical damage. Along with the prompts, there is also a warm reminder. 300 years ago, an ordinary night fell in Philippine, and then the sun never rose again. If you can, please stop your heartbeat and abandon your breathing. They hate noise. Judging from this tip, in the past, this city should have been very prosperous and had its own civilization, but it must have been something he experienced and was shrouded in darkness. At this moment, the entire city should be filled with countless dark monsters. Moreover, these monsters are located through sound hunting. This reminded Lin Yi of a movie he had watched in his previous life on Earth, A Place of Silence. In that movie, everyone tries not to make any noise, because as long as you make a sound, it will attract extremely terrifying monsters. The copy where Lin Yi is now is even more abnormal. Because let alone the noise made by walking, even your heartbeat and breathing can be heard by monsters. GGG. Lin Yi heard a strange sound. Looking back, he saw several groups of more intense darkness in the darkness, moving quickly towards him. At the same time, the faint moonlight of the blood moon shines. Lin Yi also saw several smiling faces floating in the air. These smiling faces don't look much different from human ones, but in this environment, the smiling faces floating in the air are a bit scary. Dead Light Shadow Demon, level LV.25. Rank, Ordinary. Race, Shadow Spirit. HP, 8000/8000. Mana value, 500 out of 500. Skill, stealth. Weakness, magic damage. That pitch-black monster that couldn't be seen clearly was originally called the Shadow Demon of Death, and that smiling face floating in the air is called Dead Light and Shadow Nightmare. It has higher health, moves faster, and is also an elite monster. These two monsters were obviously aimed at Lin Yi. They heard Lin Yi's breathing and heartbeat. No wonder Jiangya said before that as long as you are in this dungeon, you will be chased by monsters all the time. Lin Yi found it difficult just thinking about it, because being chased by monsters, whether it is a fight or running away, it will make a sound. This is a very deadly chain reaction, because it will attract more monsters. The people from Tianshui College must have known that there should be a shelter in this city called Felicane that can really avoid the tracking of these monsters. Or they have some way to block the detection of these monsters. From the perspective of normal professional clearance, avoiding battle is undoubtedly the best idea, but for Lin Yi, he plans to find another way. To deal with darkness, you can't just hide blindly, my friend. Use fire. As long as I kill you all, I don't have to hide or run away. In Lin Yi's hands, a brilliant flame flashed, a scorching breath appeared. The 4th level fire range damage skill, Flame Storm, was used by him, and because it was instant, Lin Yi fired 3 shots at once. The hot fire cloud fell from the sky like a waterfall, bursting with roars. The 5 or 6 shadow monsters that had just surrounded him were all killed by Lin Yi in an instant, of course. The next second Lin Yi heard more rustling sounds approaching him. Lin Yi raised his hand again. After a short chant, a 6-meter-tall fire demon with lava flowing all over his body was summoned by Lin Yi. The attacking monster was left to his bodyguard. On the other side, Lin Yi opened the skill interface and planned to add points. Lin Yi's goal was the 8th level fire magic. According to the previous rules, it would take a lot of time to add 500,000 points. However, this time, Lin Yi was pleasantly surprised to find that his talent addition seemed to have unlocked something new, one-click point addition. This thing is easy to understand. Just click once and you can instantly enhance the skill you want to add points to the next level. Ding! Consume 500,000 skill points. Your skill Sky Flame Dragon Breath has been upgraded. You have obtained a new spell, Supreme Sublimation, Fire Spirit Incarnation. Chapter 30, Shatter the Darkness with Flames. Ignite the sun in the City of Dying Light. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Lin Yi did not check the effect of this new skill for the time being. Instead, he took a look at how many skill points were needed to upgrade the 8th level skill of Fire Spirit Incarnation to the next level. 9th level Forbidden Spell 8 Desolate Sky Meteorite. Advanced skill points required, 1 million. Hiss. Double it directly. 1 million skill points, too scary, even for him. Without considering Krypton Gold Acceleration, it would take nearly 12 days to get it, but the 9th level is a forbidden spell. The small goal he set before is actually very close. At worst, he will have to wait for 12 days to get 1 million skill points. Then, Lin Yi opened the skill bar, checked the new skills he just got. Supreme Sublimation, Incarnation of Fire Spirit. Type, Active Skill. Level, Level 8. Section, Fire. Consumption, None. Chanting Time, Instantaneous. Cooling Time, 3 days. Active Effect, your understanding of the fire element has reached perfection. You can choose to merge with the fire element between heaven and earth and enter the state of Fire Spirit Sublimation. Fire Spirit Sublimation, you are immune to all physical damage, immune to all fire attribute damage, and gain the ability to fly. In this state, when you cast a fire skill, the critical hit chance increases by 100%, the critical hit damage increases by 100%, and ignores the target's 50% magic resistance. In this state, when you cast a fire skill, all spells that require chanting become instantaneous and no longer require mana consumption. The sublimation state lasts for 3 minutes. During this period, you can mobilize all fire elements in a large range of space at any time, increase the temperature to 1 million degrees Celsius in a very short time, trigger a terrible explosion, and cause huge fire damage. Note, I am the flame. Originally, when Lin Yi saw the incarnation of the fire spirit, he guessed that this might be a status skill, it has an effect similar to the transformation of Kamen Rider. In fact, Lin Yi's guess was almost right. The description and effect of the 8th level fire skill directly turned into a small essay. After reading it, Lin Yi called it abnormal in his heart. This skill is too buggy. This is actually a relatively rare composite skill. On the one hand, this skill also has damage. In the sublimation state, he can cause a super explosion, and it is estimated that the range and damage of the explosion are more exaggerated than the breath of the Sky Flame Dragon. At the same time, it will also give himself a status. This state can directly allow Lin Yi himself to transform from a human flesh and blood body to a pure fire element life. In this state, all fire spells will explode. Increased damage, instant, and no blue consumption. Bad news, this skill is a stitched monster. Good news, all the stitches are stitched. Lin Yi immediately decided to try his hand in this dungeon. Fire Spirit Incarnation, Supreme Sublimation does not require chanting, and there is no mana consumption. Lin Yi just had a thought. He saw a cluster of deep blue flames ignited on his fingertips, the finger characteristics of human beings. Nails, bones, and flesh and blood disappeared rapidly. Then, the blue fire spread, and in the blink of an eye, Lin Yi found that his hands began to burn. This experience of transforming from flesh and blood into pure fire elements is very subtle. Not only is there no pain, but it brings Lin Yi a great sense of freshness. Lin Yi's sublimation speed is beyond his imagination. Almost in an instant, Lin Yi felt that he had completed the transformation of life type. He is no longer a carbon-based life, but an elemental life. Even, he has become the flame itself. Lin Yi can still feel his hands and feet, but they can be extended infinitely and stretched at will, and all over his body, he can no longer feel the restraint of gravity. Lin Yi is as light as air. At the same time, the place where Lin Yi was originally standing began to disappear without leaving any trace. It turned out that when the temperature reached a certain level, all the substances in the real world may have skipped the melting step. Instead, they were directly vaporized and annihilated. The countless shadow demons that were attracted by the molten flame demon before were probably too close to Lin Yi. They couldn't even wail. They were instantly evaporated. In the blink of an eye, a vacuum zone of more than 10 meters appeared around Lin Yi. Lin Yi's face and other features disappeared in the blue flame. If someone witnessed this scene in this place, they would probably tremble all over. Lin Yi, who sublimated into the state of fire spirit, is still the size of a normal human. But the sense of oppression is already very terrifying. At the moment when Lin Yi completed the supreme sublimation, the next moment, all the shadow demons and shadow monsters in the entire city of Dead Light, Fei Lai Kane, became anxious, because the temperature was suddenly rising. Then, Lin Yi flew high into the sky. The flying ability granted by the fire spirit state was no less than that of the wings of Gale, and even faster. Lin Yi flew high into the sky, overlooking the entire Fei Lai Kane. Unexpectedly, the scale and map size of this dungeon were much larger than he expected. The entire Fei Lai Kane was almost 5 or 6 times the size of Jiangqing Bay City, and with the help of the Eye of All-Seeing, Lin Yi discovered a detail that other professionals might not know. At this moment, among the countless broken walls and ruins of Fei Lai Kane, there were actually small groups of light. Above these groups of light, the names and levels of the professionals were written. If Lin Yi looked closely, he could get more information. The larger the group of light, the stronger the corresponding professional. Lin Yi saw 2 or 3 larger groups of light gathered together, and there were dozens of smaller groups of light following them. Finally, in the corner to the south of Fei Lai Kane, there was another group of light that was equally large, but it was no longer moving, and it seemed that its aura was gradually fading, as if it was seriously injured. Oh my goodness. It turns out that this copy is a public copy. In other words, all the professionals who entered the copy were actually assigned to various corners of the entire city of Passing Light, and the chance of encountering them was very small, but it was definitely not impossible. Fei Lai Kane, the central city, there are 50 or 60 people here, fighting against the shadow demon monsters that are coming in groups like a tide. We are only 4 or 5 people away from being all here. I just asked through the sky interrogation. They should have been teleported to a remote place and can't make it for the time being. They will find shelter on their own. Let's hurry to the central royal court. Everyone, keep up, don't fall behind. Several professionals wearing Tianshui College teacher uniforms and with strength reaching the 3rd level killed monsters while instructing other students. Who? Do you feel that it's getting hotter? I also want to say that this place was terribly cold before, but now I sweat a lot after walking a few steps. No, it's too hot, I can't walk anymore. Just a few seconds later, everyone felt that the air they breathed into their lungs was scorching hot, the skin all over their bodies was like being exposed to the scorching sun, and it was burning painfully. Oh my God! Look up in the sky. What is that?